Okay, we are live, we are good, we are ready to go. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. This is RPL F1. We are in round 10. Anyway, so we're in round 10 of the championship. It is Silverstone here. Yeah, so let's just get this thing going on the way. So last week, Reese wound up winning the race. Jacksta was second and TB was third last week in Canada. That was the original top three before post-race penalties came into effect, where TB wound up getting promoted to second, and Fanflow, who finished fourth, was shoved into third. Jacksta, the other Red Bull, who finished in second, got dumped all the way to P6. Hopefully, in the commentary box, my partner, ETSR Layton, should be joining us momentarily. I just gotta find him. There he is. There we go. But yeah, that is the team for right there. In the Drivers' Championship, there he is. There he is. So in the Drivers' Championship, just looking at it here, TB continue his lead over Jacob, 148 to 105. Scyther changes up into third with 96, ahead of Cryptic, who is in fourth with 90. In the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari loses 10 points advantage to Red Bull, 278 to 220. Meanwhile, Mercedes sits in third with 156. So we have 18 taking part, but will be 20, as Fanflow will be joining in Alfa Romeo. There's Layton. How goes it? Yeah, if Tadpole can clear it, I'll take him. Because Jim Bob offered Red Fire, and yes, Red Fire's not liked by the Ferrari boys. Alright, so disregard on the Fanflow being part of it. It's actually Stenner that will be taking part in the Alfa Romeo, and Luke will be joining later on. He'll be starting at the back of the field in the Alpine. So looking at our group here, on board we have Kiernan in the Aston Martin, Blonda the Chiller make up the Mercedes, Beatnik for the moment by his lonesome in Alpine, Cryptic filling in for Jacob in Ferrari, as Jacob is not taking part today. Owen is in the McLaren, Ads in AlphaTauri. We have a newcomer, Alex Fox Johnson, which is John O, I believe it is, in the McLaren. Wavy and Marco in Williams, Reese Scyther in Red Bull, Sam Steed in Haas with Jack, George is in Aston Martin, Bourbon in Alpha, Stenner has just joined in, he'll take the Alpha spot, and TB in the Ferrari. So, Layton, Silverstone, quite a favored track by some. A home race for pretty much mostly the entire field. So what is your predictions for this? Just 1 second. Did you check the box that says include your audio? Just checking the Twitch. You're, like, you talking, nothing's coming out. I'm not sure why. Let me just figure this out.
Right now? Is it working now?
There he goes.
Yeah, for some reason, even though it's ticked, sometimes it doesn't work, so very questionable.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun race, very entertaining. Cryptic, a driver that's returning to a top seat, actually, after being dropped from Red Bull. After Monaco, after his bad performance, he returns to a top seat. Obviously, he's in the Ferrari for this weekend. They're two very completely different cars. The Red Bull, a very stable car, and a Ferrari that tends to lose the rear quite a lot. But yeah, very good one. It's about 3 tenths on his teammate. So yeah, very good for him at the moment.
Absolutely, and like I said before, Cryptic filling in for Jacob, who is not taking part tonight. He is out. He will be back next week, I believe, which is Austria. Unfortunately, on Jacob's end, he has a quali ban that he's got to serve after accumulating 9 penalty points in the span of the 9 races. So he's averaged about 1 penalty point per race. But we'll have to wait. But we'll see how it goes for there. But on another note, hard to believe that the season is starting to mix up quite a bit. We've had different winners, multiple different winners. With Reese's win.
Reese has 2 wins this season.
Yeah.
Miami and obviously last time out in Canada, so 2 wins for him. He is definitely on a roll this season. As well as a lot of drivers. TB, he thinks this is probably his best shot at fighting for a title. And I think others would agree with him as well. This is definitely the season where he can definitely win. But it's all about whether he can stay consistent, especially when drivers are starting to perform now. With Cypher returning now back after missing last time out, and Did Chiller still performing even though he's in a Mercedes. So yeah, it's a very good thing. But he does pretty much have a 43-point lead to his teammate, which is big, and then a 52-point lead to the car behind that. So yeah, TB is definitely the most consistent driver in RPL at the moment, but some mistakes that he does make in a few races has cost him this season. I think Canada, he definitely made his way back up after making that pit stop. So yeah, well done to him. But yeah, a 43 lead is definitely big for him, especially the way he's been finishing races.
Yeah. I just did a check at the win columns with round 9. With round 9 done, we've had 6 different winners in F1 Season 8 so far. Reese, Scyther, and TB being the only ones that have multi-wins. The other ones being Cookie, Jacob, and the Chiller, each with 1. And speaking of Scyther, I'm actually on board with him now as he's making his way into Sector 3, heading into the Stowe corner. Let's see what he's capable of as we head into the Vale chicane. I do wonder where he's going to be. I bet you he might probably sandwich the Ferraris, if possible. It might overtake them. And he does overtake him, 27-3. That's over 7/10 clear of Cryptic's time.
Yeah, that is a championship contender right there. Even though he's missed a few races, every time he returns back to racing, he always performs. So yeah, a driver that can definitely perform. And a driver that's always fighting for wins. So yeah, we were going to see Choco actually race today in the Red Bull, but Cypher actually decided to show off last second. So yeah, it would have been nice to see Choco race again, especially after unfortunately he qualified P2 last time out, and then unfortunately his Xbox shut off and couldn't race. So yeah, unfortunate for him. But Reece Dainty's actually made a mistake in the first sector, and he'll probably back out and go again.
Yeah, just checking on Tadpole now as he just comes across to take fourth. Now Scyther, as you mentioned, he's missed 4 of the 9 races so far. That being Australia, Imola, Miami, and Canada. But the races that he did compete in, he finished no worse. His worst finish is 4th place, which was in Bahrain. But then, following with that, he got 2nd in Jeddah, 3rd in Portugal, and then 2 wins being Spain and Monaco. So, as you say, even though he's missed a couple of races, Scyther is pretty much a championship threat, and I mean, no doubt, he's got the capability of doing it. I mean, last season he missed like I think 6 or 7 races, and he still managed to win the championship.
Yeah, even though he's missed a few races, obviously last season Dichilla took it to the final round. The races that Cypher missed, Dichilla needed to capitalise on, and he did. So yeah, no disrespect to Dichilla, but the races that Cypher missed definitely helped out Dichilla in catching him back up. I think the points difference was 80 before the end.
Let's see here. So far, only 6. So just under 6.5 minutes to go in Q1. So we only have 5 drivers yet to set a lap, being Blonde, DeChiller, Owen, Bourbon, and Wavy. But given we're in Q1 right now, the bottom 4 are going to be knocked out of Q1. And then in Q2, the bottom 5, being 11th through 15th, will be eliminated, and then the remaining 10 fight off for pole in Q3. And so far, by the looks of it right now, we don't know who's going to get there, as Bourbon just put Alfa Romeo in 6th place right now for Q1. It's not a bad time for Bourbon right there.
Yeah,
Bourbon.
The AlphaTauris is doing good here. They had a really good race last time out. P3 and a P6 finish, very good for them. As Beatnik goes up to P4 and actually goes ahead of the Ferrari of TB. Beatnik, another driver that does tend to perform whenever he wants to. So yeah, but another driver that has done good, like you said. You've already said his name, Bourbon. He's done amazing. He always has. He's in the AlphaTauri next season. So the final races that he does will be definitely enjoyable to see.
Absolutely. As Layton mentioned it, Bourbon is AlphaTauri bound next season. Bourbon was in, currently is competing in an F2 under the Trident team, where he is sitting 7th in that championship. But we'll have to see where things go from there. As DeChiller just goes 5th fastest. And surprisingly, DeChiller behind Beatnik by just under 200ths of a second. So Beatnik sharing a bit of surprises so far in Q1 at this present time. Now looking at the group so far as we're looking it over. Currently Blonde going through Luffield at this present moment. As this called it. So it's TB and Reese. So those 3 are definitely going to be through into Q2. Blonde and Wavy are the only ones yet to set a lap in Q1. At the moment, 2 of the drivers in the bottom 4 are Stenner and the newcomer, Alex Fox, which is, my memory is right, that is Jono in the RPL Discord. Kiernan has called his run too. He's in P11, which is bad for the Aston Martin. And George, by the way, is on the cusp of being knocked out. And Blonde, 5th fastest.
He sets the identical time to beat Nick. He's very, very close here between the midfield. It is very, very close. Only 4 tenths separate 3rd to 10th. So it is very, very close between the whole field. And I think Silverstone is definitely a track that brings the field together. So we're definitely going to see some very close timings. Obviously, if you don't count out Cypher, who's 6 tenths clear. But yeah, another track, obviously, that we go to next week is Austria. That's also a very close circuit for lap time. So very good tracks are coming up for the league. There's Jack Miles on a lap and B-Nick calls it a day. Here, kind of excited a bit too early. Obviously, you have the two McLarens and you still have an Alfa Romeo. So it's very questionable to retire that early on. But obviously, you set a 301, so very, very close. But the question is, can he make it through? The Aston Martin's not exactly the best of cars, but it's a car that can perform sometimes, so he'll be hoping to perform as Jack Miles just comes up to the Sector 2 split. I think he's about 2 tenths up. Yeah, he's about just over 1.5 tenths up. So this will shoot him probably up into the top 10, depending on his final sector. Alex is just coming up to the middle sector split. He needs a big improvement here if he wants to make it a 50 QT on his debut, I think it is. And he's 4 seconds up, so he's currently on for a 29. So he'll need a big sector 3 if he wants to make it through. And Jack does go into the top 10 with a 6:09. And there's only 1 minute 20 left on the clock. So whoever sets their lap times now, like Alex, he won't be able to get another lap. And here goes Alex around the final corner. This will be his final lap, and he goes up to P7, and he knocks Jack Miles down. And it looks like Tadpole's actually going out again. Looks like he needs to do another lap. Sam Steed gets ready for another lap. Marco gets ready for another lap. Owen's cut in the corners. Okay, I'm not going to report that.
The thing is that Owen, he came out with just about a minute left, so there's no way he's going to make it in time. So Owen is going to be knocked out of Q1.
He was just adventuring the track limits.
Well, unless George can get back to the line in time, he invalidated his lap, so he's going to have to try to get to the line in time, or else he's going to be knocked out.
He can make it to the line, but he doesn't have enough fuel, so he's done. So, Stenner was the final driver to actually go across the line. Jack Miles is done. Owen's quali's over, so he's out. Groggers is out. And Owen
he
does
just goes for a spin.
Does a little cheeky drift. And looks like Marco is actually going to be the first driver out of all these lot to actually finish their laps. What can the Williams driver do? He performed last time out. I think he made it through to Q2. He's a very good performance. He's 55 milliseconds down at the moment, so not good for him. As Sam Steed is up on his time. And here we go. What can Marco do? Can he make it through to Q2 in the Williams? Will we see an Aston Martin and a Williams both through to Q2? Both teams have been struggling to make it through, and he comes up to the line. He does improve, but it's only by 58 milliseconds. Sam Steed is a whopping 4 tenths up, so he'll make it through. There we go. He goes up to P14. And can Stenner, making his returning back to F1, he has a little slide, but he does make it through, and he goes to 13th. And that is it. Both Williams are knocked out. So Groggers is knocked out. Wave is knocked out. Owen's knocked out. and Marco in P16 is knocked out. But there we go. That's his Q1 done with, and congratulations to everyone that made it through.
Very true there. So Marco put up a good fight, but in the end, he is done. And as Layton says it, both Williams, a McLaren, and an Aston Martin are out. Both Haas's make it through to Q2, I believe, for the first time this season. So that's good mark there for both Sam and Jack to make it through. But that is Q1, and we'll be joining up very shortly for Q2. Just taking a look at the Discord, Slap, which is Marco, said that he could have gotten into Q2, but unfortunately he had a bad Sector 1. So Sector 1 plays trouble to him. And we're just taking a look at... Oh, we got quite a few people in. We have, quite a few people in the chat. We'll admit that. Anyways, drivers are heading out onto the circuit. But the question is who is up first? And looks like it is an Alpha, and that is gonna be well, Bourbon was first out, but it's actually Beatnik that's gonna be out on deck first. As Layton mentioned, Beatnik is a strong competitor in the midfield cars. Now, I think the possibility of Beatnik possibly going into a top series car could be a potential, because he is doing phenomenally well in the midfield cars. But my guess is that Beatnik could find himself looking into the eyes of maybe a top seat in the near future, whether it could be a season 9 or it could be season 10. We don't know. Anything is possible. But we'll be on board with Beatnik when he kicks it in for the lap for Q2. Now, speaking of the next season, the lineups are getting more and more unique as of late. As of right now, in 2 weeks' time, roughly, I believe, F2 and Tier 2 will kick off their new season. But we'll get right to that after our lap with Beatnik. So here we go. Just navigating on through now into the village and the loop. Charging his way out and on his way down the Wellington Straight. We go into Brooklands and Luffield. Very nice. Just look at that navigating work of that throttle. He's just rolling his way down the old pit straight. Now into Cops, where things can get tricky. Keeps it nice on the limit. Really wonderfully well. Now heads into Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. Just careful on that throttle input. Into the DRS of the hangar. On its way right up to Stowe, getting it close to 205 in the Stowe. Looks like we have a Haas around. That is either Sam or Jack that has spun out. There comes Beatnik out of final corners and across the line to set the benchmark. It is a 28.755 to kick things off.
Yeah, I think that was slower than his Q2. I meant his Q1 lap, and there we go. Cryptic actually does better than what he did in Q1. So the lap times are starting to ramp up. Looks like a Mercedes is next to come across as that was De Chiller starting his lap. And TB is actually slower than his teammate. And it's not even by a small gap, it's a big gap between both of the Ferraris here. We've seen it in the past where a reserve for Ferraris always performed better than the actual main driver. We saw it in round one when Cookie won on his Ferrari debut, and maybe we're going to see it here when Cryptic makes his debut for Ferrari. So obviously TB shouldn't be worried. He's going to Mercedes next season, but it's still very questionable when drivers reserve for Ferrari and they do better than their actual full time. So yeah, maybe Cryptic more suited to the Ferrari compared to the Alfa Romeo or even the Red Bull, but qualifying is one thing and the race is another. So we're definitely going to see whether these drivers have a qualifying setup or a race setup. Most drivers do tend to compromise their quali for the race, so we're definitely going to see that as the Chiller makes a mistake and he runs wide and he'll have to pit and go onto a new set of softs as Blonde is just entering the quick right, left, beautiful historic set of corners, and there we go. On the exit, what is his second place? 4-3. Not the fastest we've seen, but Blonde obviously going from the Alfa Romeo to the Mercedes, so a big change for him. I don't know if he has a seat next season, but he'll definitely be on some teams' radar, especially when lineups can change at the click of a switch. As he comes up to the line and he goes up to P3, they're very good for him.
A very good lap by Blonde. Now, as mentioned about with Blonde for next season, as I mentioned last week in Canada, Blonde want to be in a top seat for the rest of the season, as because next season, once the summer is over in real life, Blonde is going to be going to university, which means his attendance to appear in F1 races are going to be substantially slim. So that's why he has moved into a top seat car in a Mercedes. As for next season, Blonde is next season wise in F2, Blonde is going to be in ART next season. And as I was just mentioning about with the seasons for F2 and Tier 2, at the moment, the only seats that have a spot open is AlphaTauri and Williams, and that is for Tier 2 Season 8, which will be on a Friday in 2 weeks' time. F2, also 2 weeks from now, is going into Season 16, and right now, let me just make sure I have this correctly. Okay, so at the moment for F2 Season 16, 3 teams need a second driver, being Virtuosi, Trident, and ART, but no activity from High Tech and VAR for next season. Now, crazily, ART, High Tech, and VAR are Mercedes Academy's teams. So currently, at the moment, Wavy, who's racing in Williams, who got eliminated in Q1, he's only got 1 driver signed for F2 next season.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in no rush to fill them seats, and I'm sure he will fill them seats. He does have 6 seats to fill in F2 compared to McLaren Academy, or Alpine Academy, whichever you want to name it, which only has 4 seats to fill. So yeah, obviously some teams did accumulate more seats than other academies, but I'm sure he will fill in the rest of the 5 of the seats for sure.
Yeah, without Payne, Jim Bob, who's the team principal, he just has to find somebody to partner
Um,
Luke in in the uh, in the virtuosi.
just
Uh,
to interrupt, Reece Dainty is 3 times up on Cryptic in the middle sector, and I think we're going to see a point zero. No, we're going to actually going to see a point nine. Jesus Christ,
wow.
that is a man on a
Uh,
mission.
Now Scyther's Q1 lap was a
The point,
27.0, right?
no, it was a point
Uh,
three.
oh, 27.3.
Yeah,
Okay, so Reese wound up
27.3.
getting his car into 26s.
Yeah, the track does tend to ramp up very quickly at some circuits, and I think this is one as Beatnik actually goes into the top three now. Separating the Ferraris once again, so I think TV might be a little bit worried here because in Q1 he's all the way down in 8th or 9th, and he's got an Alpine in the middle of him. So that is going to be scary, especially if Beatnik does get in the middle of him, because Beatnik is the type of driver to not let anyone pass and fight at all costs for a top position. So we're definitely going to see that, but obviously Q2 is very different to Q3. Q3 drivers tend to do a lot better than Q1 and Q2 put together. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be worried, but I think he'll be on the edge if Beatnik is definitely that close to them as De Chilla comes across the line and he goes P5, very close to the Ferrari as well. So very close timings. But yeah, Reece Dainty putting 6 tenths on Critic is very worrying. We saw it with Cypher in Q1, and it looks like Reece Dainty's doing the same in Q2. So it looks like the Red Bulls both have pace this weekend compared to the Ferraris that don't seem to have the pace this weekend compared to every other weekend that they have.
That is, well, that could be the case. We don't know. I mean, with TB being, like I said, in P8 from Q1, currently being behind an Alpine in Q2. I mean, there's a slight possibility that maybe the point leader might be doing a bit of sandbagging, holding off until Q3 to really put on the power. We don't know at this present moment, but that is the case there. Now I wonder.
Um,
Let's see.
I don't think we've really seen any drivers sandbagging qualifying, especially a driver like TB. I
Hmm.
don't think we've seen him sandbag at all this season. I think one race that he maybe did was Monaco. Um, I think Monaco was really the only qualifying session that we saw him maybe sandbagging or just didn't get to grips with the car. But yeah, I'm sure he has a lot more in the tank. I think he just wants to get through these qualifying sessions without risking too much. But yeah, we'll definitely see more pace from him in Q3, especially from a driver like TV that's definitely always good in qualifying and doesn't really put a foot wrong when he's racing. But Blonde's actually on a lap here. He goes into Maggots and Beggars. He doesn't feel like
Oh,
he's
he,
safe,
he is
which
2 tenths up in Sector 1.
yeah, which he just runs a little bit of the grass, which doesn't lose him time as advertised, and he's 5 tenths up, so he's going to go into 27.9s. So this could actually knock Beatnik and TB a position even lower. But yeah, the AlphaTauris, Tadpole being 8th and Ad being P6, he thinks his day's done, which does look close to be. But where will Blonde go? He rounds the final corner here, just gets on the
Probably
throttle
third.
nice and early. Going to be a
I called it.
27.6. Yeah, very good for him. Very close to Cryptic as well. So it looks like the Mercedes might actually have some pace here this weekend.
Yeah, it looks like we got quite a mixed bag of drivers being involved from the Q2 performance, which means that probably Q3 is going to be even tighter in regards to top three. Scyther and Bourbon are out on the track to do their outlaps with a minute 40 to go. And once those guys are done, are going in through, right now, currently the bottom five, not including those two, you got Sam Steed, Stenner, and Kiernan. Those guys are actually out on an outlap. Tadpole has decided to call it. He's in P8. So I think Tadpole is going to have some fingers crossed to hope he can stay in Q3. Alex Johnson, he's in 9th. His RPL F1 debut. I do wonder where he'll be. If he may have to get out of that bubble. Jack is on a lap in Sector 1, over 10th up in Sector 1. So he will improve his time at the moment. But so far, he's going to stay in 10th for right now. As he comes out of Chapel now to see where he goes for Sector 2. Over a quarter second up. So that will he'll knock Alex off for P9. But can he find that extra grip and extra speed to go further here in Sector 3? We'll see as it comes up into the Vale Chicane. Jack, he really would like to see maybe a Q3 appearance for that Haas. Here he comes out of the final corner and across the line. He puts a P8 with a 28.491. Very good timing. Very good timing there as these guys are getting on through with their laps. We got Scyther on his lap right now. He's got Alex ahead. Alex, by the way, wow, 6/10 up in Sector 2. That's gonna put him ahead of Ads in 7th.
Cypher's 2 attempts down on Reese Dainter here in the middle sector from his lap times.
Wow, here comes Alex now out of the final corner. I mean, if he's got some fire in that pace, he might. Let's see where he's going to go. 5th. Wow,
He really rocked.
That puts in Tadpoles out.
Cypher goes P2. He definitely has a lot in the chamber, especially from his Q1 lap. Bourbon goes P8, so that lowers Ads out. He could be knocked out here depending on Sam Steed, Stenner, and Kieran, but I don't think Kieran's got much left in the tank. He's been struggling with that car.
Stenner invalidated, so he's out.
Of course he did.
Jack is out. Tadpole's out. Here comes Sam. Goes 13th.
Stenner was 7 times up as well, so he could probably knock him out. I think Stenner's actually going to finish that to see where he can go. As De Chile just rounds the final corner, he'll be the second to last across the line. Where does he go?
Just knock that.
He goes up to 5th.
And so that wraps up Q2. So we say goodbye to both the Haas's of Jack and Sam, the Alpha Tauri of Tadpole, the Alfa Romeo of Stenner, and the Aston Martin of Kiernan out of there. And hard to believe, just taking a look at this, from 2nd place all the way down to 9th, half a second separates that group of 7. But there it is. So Reese and Scyther top off the Q2 front row with Cryptic behind in 3rd. So once everything is all set, we'll be going through into Q3. And very shortly, once we get Q3 started, you'll get to hear my predictions on the top 3. And you'll also hear Layton's prediction on the top 3. Okay, so here we are for queue number 3. So we have both the Mercedes of Blonde and the Chiller, both Red Bulls of Reese and Scyther, both Ferraris of Cryptic and TB, Beatnik, Alpine, Ads in the AlphaTauri, Alex in the McLaren, and Bourbon in the Alfa Romeo. And by looks of it, it looks like one of the Ferraris is going to be the first out. Oh, no. It is actually going to be Beatnik. Oh, no, never mind. It is Cryptic. So Cryptic is going to be the first one out. Beatnik right behind. And TV in behind him. But that is what we got so far. Now let's take a gander on the predictions for the top 3 here in this event. So, I am actually going to go with my prediction, and I'm actually going to go dead center on my prediction. I think that the top 3 are going to be, I think it is going to be Reese on pole, yeah, Reese for pole, Scyther. I'm gonna say Scyther might get is probably gonna get second place, but just barely. And probably Cryptic will just edge TV to get third. So yeah, that's my predictions, but I think the battle between second and third is gonna be so tight, it could go either way. But I'm sticking with my gut on Reese getting pole position.
I'm gonna go Cy for Reese Cryptic.
Alright, well, speaking of Cryptic, we are on deck with him now, as he is making his way through the track for Q3. He's got a Red Bull right behind on an outlap.
I think even though Reese topped Q2 by a big margin, I think Cypher always brings something out in Q3 that just always excites us. So yeah, we're going to see what he does. But it does look like the Red Bulls are out of sync here compared to the rest of the field. They're on the outlap compared to the thing, and Reese does get out of the way of TB there nice and early. Yeah, if we let TB pass there, it looks like we're going to see both Ferraris actually set their lap times first. That'll be fun to see. As the sector 2 split. The fastest in sector in Q2, it was a 35.7, and Cryptic's done a 36.0. So the Ferrari just don't seem to have the pace unless they're on all set of softs. But it wouldn't surprise me if they are on an all set. But at the same time, Cryptic has the pace to split the Red Bulls compared to TB, so maybe an all set. But 27.4, definitely good for him. What does TB do? He does a 27.1 and there we go. TB always brings something out in Q3. He always brings that pace. As Alex goes P4 and Beatnik goes up to P3, only 4, and De Chiller actually just separates him by 20 milliseconds. So well done to De Chiller there. As the next driver to come across the line will be Ads. He doesn't have a seat next season. He does have an F2 seat. As he goes up to 6th. I'm sure he has a lot of time left in the tank. Reese Dainty's 2 times up on TB in the first sector. Bourbon comes across the line. Where can he go? He goes up to 5th. Blonde, the next driver to come up to the line. Oh wait, never mind. It's Cypher and then Blonde.
Yep.
So what can Cypher do here? He comes up to the line. Looks like it's going to be a 26.7. Wow. And here comes Blonde. What can Blonde do? He does a 28.3. So Cypher's sector 2 is a 35.6. Reese Dainty's a 35.8. So he's 2 times down on his teammate at the moment. But we've seen Reese do a lot better in Sector 2 compared to other drivers. So I'm sure he made a little mistake. But here we go. He comes around the final corner. Where can Race Dainty go? He goes up to P2. And it's a Red Bull 1-2 here at Silverstone, the home track for them. So yeah, that's the first set of lap times done. And everyone's going to come into the pits, put a new fresh set of tyres on, and they're going to go again. But it looks like my prediction's not quite right at the moment. I did predict Cypher P1, Reese P2, and Cryptic P3, but not quite there. But yeah, like I said, TB always brings something out in Q3. He always finds that extra performance. The same with Cypher, compared to a driver like Cryptic that always pushes it in all three sessions. So yeah, very good lap times there. Beatnik be a bit frustrated that he's not in that top five, especially how he's done in Q1, Q2. But yeah, very good from him.
Absolutely, and like I said, so Red Bull inherits the front row for right now. Ferrari sitting in row number 2. Yeah, Beatnik was prominently around in the top 5 in Q2 and in Q1. He would love to have a top 5 start after Q3. Now, Blonde, by the way, is probably going to be having to find a little bit more pace as he's about half a second behind his teammate at this moment, and he is sitting in 8th, ahead of him being an Alpha, a Bourbon, and the Alpine of Beatnik. Now, Ads right now is the slowest of the 10. It looks like either was that TB? No, it's Cryptic. Cryptic is heading back out onto the circuit.
Yeah, that's very, very early for him. That is very, very early. Compared to other drivers that will be wanting to leave it to the last second, that is very, very early to go out. It looks like the Chiller's actually going to be the next car to come out here. His crew's getting his car ready, and there we go. The Chiller's out of the pits.
Yeah, it looks like
And it looks like
activity for
Cypher's coming out
Scyther
now.
too.
Yeah, Cypher's coming out. So there we go. Yeah, Cryptic did go out there a little bit early. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's very, very early for him.
It's possible to figure out what's going on in Cryptic's mind to see what he's capable of doing. Let's see. As you mentioned, Ads. He's not in a seat in F1 for next season, but he is in F2. In fact, he's actually your teammate in F2 in Prima. So that's gonna be an interesting team dynamic. You and Ads working together.
Yeah, I think the Red Bull F2 Academy does get along quite well compared to other academies. We've seen in the past where academies do fight each other. I think we have the least amount of that. But here we go, Cryptic. He comes around the final corner, starts his lap. Maybe his final lap, depending on if he backs off. We're into turn 1, full throttle, 8th gear. Just runs that nice inside curve. Don't take too much as it can unsettle your car. Hits the inside apex, takes a nice wide line, entering turn 4. Gets on the throttle nice and early. Don't put it down too early to the point where you do lose the car. DRS enabled. Now it's down to the Sect 2 sections of Brooklands and Luffield. Jesus, I don't even remember my own circuit corners. But there we go, very good exit for him. A little bit twitchy, runs the nice inside line. Don't cut the white line too much as it can unsettle your car. Will he do this corner flat or will he do a little lift? He does brake, in fact, compared to what we've seen. So he does go into that corner and brakes. But he is on a controller, so he doesn't have that rotation compared to what we've seen from the wheel users. And there we go. What will he be up into sector 2? He is 3 tenths up pretty much, so it is good for him at the moment. The Chiller's 72 milliseconds up in the middle sector. Cypher's 44 milliseconds up, and it looks like all the he's lost it. Now he's gonna have to refocus and go again. That is the thing that I mentioned. Does he have enough fuel to go again? He can't go too slow. He can't go too slow. But yeah, like we saw, we just saw him push the limit too much. And it looks like he's going to have to reboot and go again and make sure that he doesn't get into any traffic. And I don't think he is. But it looks like the Chiller, he's invalidated. So Cypher's actually going to be the next driver. And Cypher's a whopping nearly 2 temps up. So this is going to be another good lap for him. Like I said, he always brings something in Q3 that always entertains us. Let's see if he doesn't make the same mistake as Cryptic. He doesn't. He nails Stowe. And then we go into the final, I think it's called Club chicane. Up to the line, what does he do? He does a 0.4. He improves by 3 tenths, and that is a lap that's going to be hard to beat. Cryptic's 15 milliseconds down. He's not improving. Bourbon, he's just getting ready to do a lap. Alex is going for a lap. Ads is getting ready for a lap. And this is where it all kicks off. Looks like Reese is actually going to be the final driver just to prepare. Actually, no, it looks like it's going to be TB. So TB is going to be the final driver just to prepare for that final lap. But yeah, very good lap by Cypher there just to give him that extra 3 temps improvement. So very good for him. But yeah, that is a benchmark that is definitely going to be hard to beat here. But Critic is 1/10 down, but he has 0 ERS, so he's going to lose all that. He's going to lose that 10th all on that straight. But will he make the same mistake? He runs wide. He doesn't hit the apex. He does keep it in line, and he's going to pit. And that's him done. And the Chiller's done as well. So that's both of them done. And it looks like TB's going to lock himself into the top 3, but he doesn't want to be behind both of the Red Bulls. Because being behind them two is a definite dominant force, especially the way that them two have worked together in the past. We've seen it in Abu Dhabi. Reese is only 8 milliseconds up in Q1. TB will need a big improvement here if he wants to go P2, and he's currently a 10th down, so he's not looking good for him. Ads is 6 temps up. Alex is going to be the next driver to come across the line. Where will he go? And all these drivers are pushing now. Everyone's improving on their lap times, apart from P2 and P3. So Alex is going to be the first driver to come across the line. Where will he go? He goes up to P5. He goes ahead of the Chiller. Ads will be the next driver to come up to the line. Where can he go in the AlphaTauri? He goes up to P6. He drops the Chiller even worse. Here comes Bourbon up to the line. Where can he go? He knocks the Chiller even worse. And here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Teammate. Where can Blonde go? Blonde goes up to P4 and goes ahead of Cryptic. And here comes beating it, the American Force. Where can he go? He goes up to P6 and the Chiller is starting all the way down in P10 and Reese Dating does improve, but he's not enough and Cypher is on pole position.
Wow. The Red Bull lockout for Silverstone, but the Chiller, one of the worst qualifyings he's had in a long time. I mean, look at the timing. Blonde 6/10 clear of him. But there it is. So Scyther on is pole. Reese is second. TB sitting in third. Then you got Blonde in fourth. Cryptic in fifth. Beatnik 6th. Alex, the newcomer, in 7th. Bourbon 8. Ads 9. And the Chiller. My goodness. Probably host tax for him being that slow. 10th place for him. What a wild Q3, to say the least, there. Wow. But here we go. We will be ready to go for the event. So let's take a look at our grid for today's race. So it is a Red Bull front row, Scyther and Reese making up the front row. Row 2, TB and Blonde. Then it is Cryptic and Beatnik making up row 3. Alex and Bourbon in row 4. Adds to Chiller making up row 5. Then row 6, we have Jack and Tadpole. Then Kiernan and Sam Steed for row 7. Stenner and Marco in row number 8. Owen and Wavy making up row 9. And then the back row, it is George and Luke. Luke has taken part, and he will be starting in last place. So the timer has kicked off, so we will be ready to go for this race. By the looks of it right now, unless anything changes last second, it is Scyther, Beatnik, Alex, Bourbon, Tadpole, Kiernan. Nope, not Kiernan. Sam, Stenner, Marco, and Luke on the hard tires. Kiernan taking a gamble on the soft tires. Everyone else is on the mediums. But here we go. The 5 lights are coming on to start the British Grand Prix. And it is lights out, and away we go. Good reaction from Scyther, getting ahead of his teammate. And it looks like Cryptic getting a better jump over his teammate. And oh, we got trouble! We got trouble! TV goes flying off the circuit. TV goes flying off the circuit. Can't tell if he's damaged, but he's got dirty tires for certain. And Jack also falls to the back, and TV spins again! And so does Jack, the point leader, sent flying off the circuit, and Jack goes flying off too, and we have Marco off into the wall and out of the event. My goodness, what a disastrous start for TB. Wowee. But looking at, as we get back to the front of the field, Reese is now gone ahead of Scyther. In the back is Beckett and Chapel. Cryptic sitting in third. Ads falls to up in the fourth. Kiernan, by the way, started in 13th. He's already up in the 5th place. Beatnik up in the 6th is up in 6th. But holy wow. I mean, literally, we had a Mercedes and a Ferrari fall all the way back to the back. That is very super unfortunate there. Looks like Luke just had a problem. But as they complete the first lap of this race, it is Reese, Scyther, Cryptic, Ads, Kiernan, Beatnik, The Chiller, Alex, Bourbon, and Tadpole.
Sam Speed has gone for a spin. Sam Speed in his final corner.
Yep, that's what happened. Yeah, so Sam does go for a spin.
Oh, we got another spin. Ah,
that's Beatnik. Beatnik spins out of 6th.
And look at Kieran all the way up in P5.
Yeah, Kiernan, the guy, lone soft tire runner, he just gained literally 9 spots since the start of this race. But, jeez, I mean, Kiernan is really putting on a barnstormer for sure, right? But here is Cryptic now all over the back of Scyther. This is a fight for second place as Blonde gets clear of Alex to get himself back into P13. I wonder what the heck happened to TV in that opening lap. He just went flying off the course. Went flying off the course and turn 1, and then got into a spin out of the village. And it looks like we have another spin. That's Sam again. Spins out. And Beatnik now back up into 11th. Getting past George. Now DRS is now available. As we're looking things over as Alex is into the pits. Oh, my goodness. DRS now comes into play. Now let's see if we're on board with Cryptic. Scyther and Cryptic both get DRS. Looks like we have trouble. That's Sam again spins in the final corner. So Sam having trouble, to say the least. And unfortunately, yeah, Marco first out of the race. Ended in the Wellington Straight as TB just clears Wavy to get himself into 14th, but TB's got a long way to go to try to catch back up with the rest of the field. He'll probably wish he'd like for a safety car to turn things around. But the question is will the safety car be playing, or will it have another? Will it just take another nap like it did last 2 weeks ago in Monaco? We had like 6 crashes that resulted in multiple DNFs, and the safety car didn't bother to show up once.
Looks like we have gone again.
Yeah, Sam on his Haas debut is just having a horrifying time. There's something really going wrong with that Haas. He just goes for another spin.
But question is, how quick can Cryptic get ahead of Cypher? Because as long as Cypher's in that DRS of Reese, Cryptic's going to struggle. He's on the medium compounded tyre as well, so it's not very good for him. And yeah, those tyres of Kieran will definitely start to drop off now, as the softs only tend to last about 4 or 5 laps, so he's going to struggle. As TB's all the back up to P12, but he's 13 seconds off the leader. But there is a DRS train up ahead, all the way up to P7, so if he can get up to there, that'd be good. As Sam Steed is our second retirement of the day, and he retires in the pit lane. But yeah, Cypher on 95% ERS, Cryptic on 38, and Reese on 70. So Cypher does have the ERS to burn, unlike Cryptic, who's just burning everything to get ahead of these guys. But one driver that's doing good here at the moment is Ads. He's in P4 and he's in this DRS training. As long as he can stay with it, he's actually going to do good here.
Yeah, Ads is actually doing pretty strongly so far in this race so far. I mean, let's take a look at our position counters to use the biggest movers and shakers of this race as look. Just give me 2 seconds. There we go. But anyway, so Kiernan, one of the biggest movers, up eight positions from the start. Owen is actually the biggest mover, up 9 spots from the start, and currently the 3 biggest losers right now. Blonde losing 10, and then Alex and TV right now with 9 spots lost from the start of the event.
What's surprising is actually the fact that Reese Dainty is actually quicker than Cypher here. These two obviously very good mates, get along quite well. So it'll be funny to see who wins, as Sten has actually gone for a little spin. Doesn't have damage, but he has gone for a spin and he's lost. And he's dropped out of the top 10, so that's not good for him. But I'm sure he can recover like he did in Tier 2 yesterday. But one thing that is really depressing is the fact that Luke's 52 seconds off the lead. These guys need a safety car, Jack as well. These guys need a safety car if they want to go back into this race.
Absolutely, and like I said before, I don't know if the safety car will be coming about when an incident happens, or if it'll just take a nap like it did in Monaco.
I'm sure Beatnik. I'm sure Wave is ready to cause one.
Well, I'm not surprised if he does. You know, speaking about with Tier 2, one thing that I thought was really surprising, I wanted saving the picture of it. The fact that we had like row 1 to row 6 after qualifying was over being occupied by a single team. I don't think we could ever repeat that.
Yeah, maybe not, as Reese Daines has actually pulled out DRS.
Yeah, he has.
Looks like Cypher's going to have to burn some ERS here if he wants to get back into it. But I don't think he's too worried. Yeah, it looks like Reese just wants to get a move on and build up a nice lead. compared to these guys, as he's down to 40% ERS compared to Cypher, who's all the way on 90. So if I were Reese, I'd start saving some ERS. But yeah, Red Bull definitely need a 1-2 here. They did get it last time out in Canada, but Jets got 2 post-race pens, which dropped it down to P7, but we did gain on them. So yeah, the gap is now 58. We gained 10 points last week, so a 1-2 would definitely justify how good these two are if they can get another 1-2 here. But TV's caught back up to that DRS train as it looks like Blonde is fighting Groggers for P13. But yeah, TB in that DRS zone, he needs to get ahead of these 4 cars quick, or pretty much 5 cars. If you catch onto Kieran, who's just still in the DRS of Chiller, but yeah. TB now 14 seconds behind the leaders. He'll definitely get a good point finish, but he'll be losing points in the driver's standings for sure.
And that is for sure. Now, Kieran, as you mentioned a little bit ago, he wound up losing that 5th spot to the Chiller, so those soft tires are probably fried at this moment. So I'd probably say Kieran might be coming in. Actually, yeah, he's in now. So Kieran is off of those softs, so he'll probably be going on to the hard compound tires. So with Kieran in the pit, this puts TV back into the points, and looks like Luke is gone for a spinning cops.
Yeah, Luke's not having the best of times. He got caught up in that accident, and it's just not working out well for him. That's what he kind of gets for missing qualifying, and it kind of shows if you start at the back of this field, the chance of you getting involved in a crash is very, very significant compared to if you start in the midfield. But even the midfield can actually cause crashes. It looks like Blonde is actually getting held up here by Groggers, and this is not good for the Mercedes guys, especially his own team holding him up, which is not very good for him. And Groggers is actually fighting this, and I don't know why. Surely he'd want to help the Mercedes out rather than make his life 10 times worse. As it looks like Tadpole's in front of the Ferrari now, so this will be fun to see. But yeah, TB on the mediums compared to some guys around him that are on the hards. But I don't think the hard runners are going to fight him too much, because his tyres will probably die in the next 4 or 5 laps, compared to the hards that will probably go until lap 18 or 19, depending on what tyre compounds these guys want to do. And yeah, he does a lovely move.
Very nice move. And the Chiller is actually in. The Chiller is the first of the mediums. The Chiller first of the medium tire guys to come in. And we got trouble. That's Blonde.
It's not his day. It's not his day for him.
No,
he had a good race out in Canada, but this race is just not the one for him.
I'm wondering it was. I knew George was right in with Blonde in DRS after Magus and Beckett. So you think maybe the two made contact again?
I don't think they made contact, but I think George definitely put the Mercedes driver under pressure, which didn't help him. But it looks like Kieran's all the way up to P14. Yeah, he has a gap. So definitely working out for him, and it'd be good if he gets a points finish compared to Thing. But one thing that is surprising is Cryptic losing DRS. He needs to pit, because the more time he loses, the more time that Ads might catch up to him. But Ads is doing a brilliant performance here in P4. If he can finish in that position, it's definitely one to remember for him. And he'll be on some team's radar if he can get that point finish. It looks like Wavy and Groggers are actually fighting for P10, and this is helping Stenner, who's actually caught up about 5-6 seconds. And Beatnik and Tadpole are fighting now. These two get along really well, and that's going to be an interesting fight. But this midfield is very, very close. Boban, Owen, who's on PC, Beatnik and Tadpole all fighting. And then it's a 15-second gap all the way down to P10. So the field is definitely split. compared to that little five-way fight for P5. But yeah, the rest of the field is starting to split as there's an 8-second gap between Ads and TB, and looks like we got a spinner, and it looks like Alex Johnson's gone for a little spin, but Jack is still last, so not good for him.
Jack is not having a good day at all. He got caught up in that lap 1 incident out of the loop with the TB. Like I said, we wonder what happened in that one. As Stenner gets clear of George to get himself into 11th. And a lap ago, when you mentioned about Beatnik and Tadpole fighting, TB wound up clearing Bourbon to get himself into 5th place. So TB was basically towards the back of the field at the start of the race. Now he has climbed back up into P5.
Yeah, he is on that medium compactor tire, so some of these teams will definitely be quicker for the ones that are on hards.
Beatnik sneaking a peek on Owen.
Yeah, Owen on the mediums, those tires will definitely last a couple more laps, but it just depends on when these guys decide to pit. But yeah, one thing that's good for the front too is the fact that they're pulling away from Kritik. He's just trying to hold on here and get a podium for his Red Bull debut.
Absolutely, and literally Scyther still staying in the DRS with Reese, and Cryptic is just trying his best to try to reel it in, but just can't seem to reel that gap down. It's just under 2 seconds, and that gap is just not budging much. I mean, he was losing time in a couple of in the corners, but gaining a little in the straights. So Reese and Cypher are looking to be pretty good. Now, the thing is, these two are both on the hard compound tire, which means one of them is going to have to pit first before the other one. The question is when will that be for those two? As looks like Scyther is going to switch with Reese and head into the lead of the British Grand Prix, as Blonde has just been disconnected from the session. That's not good for Blonde, because he's literally in 13th, and Mercedes, I hate to say it, but Mercedes is looking to have a race that they're willing to forget, as Cryptic has decided to come in. So Cryptic is in from 3rd place.
Oh, Blonde back. Getting back into the session.
Yeah.
There we go.
TB's in as well. So Ferrari going for a double.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get held up, so that'll work well for them. But yeah, it looks like Scyther maybe wants to pull away, or Reese think he just wants to save a bit ERS. As TV did get held up for about 2 seconds, just about that, just like a little bit of it time.
Yeah, about like
as
a tenth or two.
Released.
Wavy's in as
Not really
well.
much time. Yeah, the question is, will Cypher just want to pull away, or will he help Reese and just pull these two further along and try and thing? But the question is, what can Cryptic do on those fresh hards? Because he'll be hoping to get back into the rhythm. As luckily for TB, Blonde actually isn't here, so that's good for him, because I'm sure Blonde would want to help out the Chiller and hold him up. There we go, Wavy exits the pits in 16.
So TB retakes the AI of Blonde to get back into 11th. Cryptic has only fallen to 8th after that pit stop. Question is, off the interval gaps.
Ads pits.
Yeah,
Ads comes in on those mediums. The question is, what can he do against Cryptic? I can't remember the gap, but Beatnik also comes into the pits. He's the first hard runner to come into the pits now, so that's very, very early for him. But not say I'm surprised. He did have Owen and Tadpole behind him, so he'll need to try and pull out a little gap to them. As Ads is released, and Cryptic is coming around the final corner, and it's going to be very, very close here. Cryptic is released, and there we go. Ads just comes out. Senna comes out ahead of him. But what will Beatnik do against Cryptic? I mean, not Cryptic. What will he do against TB? And it looks like Beatnik's actually pulled it off. He's done the overcut.
Yeah, so
There
Beatnik
we
gets
go.
ahead, but TB is right up there. His hard tires are warmed up compared to Beatnik, so
Not warmed up
Beatnik's
yet.
gonna have to wait a little bit to warm up, but TB overtakes to take ninth. Surprisingly, with the tires, Owen is the only medium tire runner from the start of the race that is yet to pit. So Owen is going long on those mediums, and Tadpole just overtakes him to take 4th place.
And Owen does stay out another lap. But Reese is just staying on some Cypher's DRS. But I'm sure Reese needs to make a decision soon whether he wants to stay out or he wants to do an undercut on Cypher. It's all about just that important pit stop. But one thing for Beatnik is he's on the mediums, he has the pace. As long as he stays with TB, he could probably re-overtake him once his tyres are fully warmed up. It does take about a lap and a half just to tend to get the tyres full on up to temperature. But yeah, Beatnik having a good performance here, and I'm sure he'll want to get out ahead of Bourbon, Tadpole and Owen as well to build him up. So he'll be hoping to gain about 3-4 places. So he'll try and get a top 6 finish if he can. Ads is just hoping to get a top 5 finish, which will be good for him, especially the way he's performed in this race so far, and try and build AlphaTauri even higher, as they'll be hoping to get ahead of McLaren for P5 in the constructors.
So just taking a look at my counter here. So not including Blonde, who's still AI right now. The top 5. Oh, Reese is in. So I was gonna say the top 5 and Stenner are the only ones yet to pit in this race, and Reese has come in. We'll see where he will be in this sense, as Tadpole is also coming in.
Owen's doing a very questionable stint here. His tyres are going to start falling off.
So Reese is coming out of the pits now, and he's got a nice comfortable gap ahead of Cryptic. So roughly 5 seconds. So that's the thing there. So roughly 5 seconds. Stenner is in as well. The TB will jump up into 7th place now. He's got 6 seconds to try to catch Ads. Now, Cryptic right now under 5 seconds behind Reese. So looks like for at this moment, unless something major happens, that looks of it, Ferrari
is going to box. Cypher stays out. But he goes for one
unless
more.
something major happens, Ferrari may not be in the hunt for a win. Now, Scyther is leading the way. He's got a 21-second lead over Bourbon. And Bourbon is coming in now.
Owen stays out.
Jeez. Owen is just... I think he's doing some kind of mental work, to say the least. He is... then again, Owen is known for making some questionable strategy calls and some unique strategy ideas. Sometimes it works dramatically well, and other times it just backfires on him. In the sprint in F2 earlier today, him and I wound up risking staying out with a few laps left, thinking the rain would hold off, and it wound up backfiring on the both of us. I think if my memory's right, Owen, even though it backfired, he still managed a points position, I think. But I could be incorrect. But I wouldn't be surprised, given it's Owen. He's known for taking gambles, taking severe risks, and sometimes it does pay off, other times it just bites him. Oh, we'll just
Save
have to
that
wait and
another
see.
lap.
Luke is in. This is his second stop of the event. Scyther is still setting fastest laps.
I got a feeling Owen's going to stay out here until he holds up Reese. I think that's what we're going to see here, where he does depend. He just stay out another lap, and it looks like Reese will be catching him. Maybe in his DRS here at the end of this little final few corners. And onto the line. And if he does get his DRS, it will be big for him. And he is nearly in it, and he is now, in fact, inside Owen's DRS. So if he has a good section here, we could see him get ahead. Owen's actually disconnected.
Oh no!
Possible time.
We need to get him back. I think I know what he's going to do.
He was
staying out long enough, and then
it's just not worked. It's just not worked for him.
Well, if he gets back, I think if he gets back in control before his AI pits for him and puts him on the wrong set, I think he was going to stay out long enough to go for sauce at the end of the race.
Does Cypher pit this lap? He doesn't. He goes out one more, so he'll be going on to the softs most likely. Beatnik is still hanging on there as Owen
just
does
made
join back.
But the Chill is in the penalty club.
Time pen. And that's not good for him because people behind him there. Some people are on mediums here, so that's not very good for him.
Let's hope I can take control of that car.
He hasn't. Oh, he took control the worst time.
Oh no! So he'll be stuck in the hards with 8 to go.
Unless he changed the tyre. If he changed the tyre, then he's okay. If he hasn't, then it's not worked well for him because if he goes on hards with 7 laps to go, this game is not going to be his best friend. And it looks like it is, in fact,
soft tires.
Softs, so it has worked out for him, but he is going to lose a lot of time. But those softs will be very, very good for him. But it all depends on if he can just build up, as TB actually gets a free second. That's not good for him because he's got Bourbon on the mediums catching up to him. So that's not good for him, and Owen is going to exit the pits in P11. But most likely he will get a point here as he makes a little mistake. Them tyres are a bit gold. But one thing that's good here is Ad's on hards, and Beatnik is using TB as a DRS train to catch up to Ad. So potentially Beatnik a top 4 finish for him, but Ad just wants to get that 4th. He's been on his own all this race. He'll be hoping to go another lap, but Reese really does need to put in the laps here if he wants to pull. I don't know how long a pit stop is around here. I don't know if you want to work that out. But Wavy enters the 3-second club now. But Titan, I don't know if you want to work out what the pit stop is around here. That is up to you. But yeah, Beatnik is just using PB as a little slipstream, which is good for him. But yeah, we're gonna
might get some help. Might get some DRS help because he is catching up to Jack as Wavy goes for a spin.
No, will we see the safety car?
It doesn't look it, but Wavy, Luke, and Alex have now gone a lap down via Scyther. And Scyther's next victim to put a lap down is Jack. But literally, Scyther has a long gap ahead because he is down in the he's going into Stowe right now, and Reese is in the old pit streak going into the Cops. So quite a way.
He's entering.
There he is.
And slows it down just enough. But the question is, what's Reese Dainty's gap going to be to him? That is the real question. What is his gap going to be? As we've got a crash, and it looks like Wavy's gone around for another spin. So that's 2 now. As he'll probably be pitting and retiring that car, as it's not been his best friend
It's
And there we
not.
go, we just entering the pit. And TB gets another 3 seconds.
Jeez.
So that is not good for him. It's making his life 10 times worse. And Cypher goes on to the mediums as Owen's disconnected again.
Oh
And I
my.
think Cypher's going to be ahead of Reese here. But he's going to be very, very close between these two. And there we go. Reese takes the lead, but Cypher does need to warm up his tyres as Reese has no ERS. So these two are going to fight each other and hopefully they don't collide. They do have a 10-second gap.
Yeah, right now with TV with his 6 seconds of penalties, at the moment he is gonna fall to 7th place. He is just ahead of DeChiller has a penalty as well, but TV is gonna fall to 7th at this rate. He's gotta pull an extra 1.3 seconds over Bourbon to keep P6. But right now, TV is looking at only six points. No, that's that's Wavy's DNF car. He retired in pit lane.
Looks like Ads is finally going to get some drivers catching up to him. And like I said, Beatnik, his plan's working out here because he's using TB as a little toe.
Yes.
There we go. But the question is, did TB get any double warnings? Because if he did, he is allowed to try and get those penalties removed. And there we go. Ads just concedes the position. He doesn't see the need to fight it, and I can understand why. If a driver in front of you've got 6 seconds of penalties, I don't see the point in fighting it either. And there we go. Beatnik's going to try and get ahead here, and maybe he can get a top 4 finish as Ads just loses the car, and he'll try and stay with the DRS now as well. But one battle that will definitely be entertaining is Cypher versus Reese. Reese going for 2 wins in a row, his 3rd this season. Cypher going for 3 wins this season. The ERS is very, very different. But these two have been the same pace all race long. Pretty much equal. So that's going to be fun to see. And it looks like Ads is just seeing that DRS, but he has got a flying American behind him with Beatnik. He'll be hoping to impress as well. Beatnik, a driver that has won, I think, 2 races in F1. Some races that will definitely be questionable. The first one was Belgium, where he hit his teammate on the final lap, causing to spin. And then the next one was Italy, where the Tiller and Jacob actually came together, and him and Jack had a drag race to the line to see who would win, and he won. So he has 2 races in 2 race wins in F1, and he'll be hoping at some point to return to a top seat and see what he can do. But Cypher's tyres are all warmed up. He's fired up. He wants this win. He wants to close that gap to TB, but both of these drivers want to close that gap to TB, especially if TB can drop all the way down to 6th at the moment, potentially 7th as Stenner joins the 3-second club. And Kieran's still in the points, but he has 8 cent ERS. He's got nothing left to burn compared to Owen, who's on 50%. But here we go. What will Cypher do? He's still behind. He's got a lot more ERS. Reese is trying to save that ERS, but Cypher's nearly on 100%, if not 100%. So I guarantee on that back straight, we're definitely going to see Cypher fly past him. And with 4 laps to go, these two have cleared the whole field, pretty much. It's ridiculous how much these two have pulled away. This is a race that definitely shows their dominance as well, but hopefully they don't collide, because if they collide, it's only 9.9 behind them, and if they do hit the wall. But here we go, Cypher's using Reese's, and then it looks like Cypher's just going to fly past me. Like I said, Reese is trying to pass me. It looks like we're going to get a little battle here between these two. Cypher goes around the outside, and Reese holds on, and we've got a yellow flag, and it's a Haas. And Reese Dainty here holds on. Cypher's fighting it. He doesn't go for the switch through, and Reese Dainty holds on here. He holds on to P1 for another lap as Beatnik gets ahead of Ads on the straight. The Chiller picks up another 3 seconds, and Beatnik's all the way up to P5 now, and he'll be hoping to get that top 4 finish.
Absolutely. Now, Now TB is clear of Bourbon, so he will be falling to P6 right now. But TB can easily keep P5 if he gains another 3.5 seconds on Ads. But Ads right now is hanging with Beatnik as Scyther goes on to the inside. Here comes Reese fighting back still.
But Cypher's going to go around the outside, and now these two are going to fight it. Neither of them want to give up that win. And Reese Dainty holds on for another lap. He holds on for another, but the issue is he's not got that DRS compared to Cypher. And Reese Dainty just needs to be careful on how much DRS he burns, because Cypher's on a lot more fresher tyres compared to Dainty. But Cypher's just got that pace. He's got that extra little pace over Reese, but Reese won't be giving up this win. And Luke and Owen, not Owen, and Robbie are fighting for it. And it looks like Cypher maybe looking for it.
Really
but
putting on a fight. Scyther trying to sneak a peek in the snow, but covers it off. Jack is in the pits now. That's 4. And Scyther trying to sneak a peek again, but decided no. So Reese keeps the lead again, but what a show the Red Bulls are putting on.
Yeah, these two, they're very good friends. They get along really, really well. And it is sad to see Cypher go to Red Bull, not to Red Bull, to Ferrari. Unless maybe we can change that. But at the moment, he's going to Ferrari next season. And these two will definitely miss their friendship. But I'm sure they'll get along next season as well. But here we go. It's another round. What will Reese Dainty do? Will he defend it? He stops using DRS. He needs to make sure that he has over about 25% DRS on a straight if he wants any chance. And
he's going on the inside.
He goes on the inside. And Reese Dainty around the outside. He does get those powers out there. He's got Cypher just using that DRS and got a collision. And it looks like Kieran and Owen have actually made a collision. And there we go. Cypher all the way up to P1. Now the question is, can Reese hold on? Does he have enough left in them tyres to hold on? Because there is DRS coming up, but the fact is, staying with him is one thing, but re-overtaking a driver that definitely shows his talent in different races is another. And it looks like he's going to use a bit of DRS to try and catch up, and look how much slipstream he has in that Red Bull. It's ridiculous. And it looks like Grog has actually gone for another spin. As looks like Cypher is now going to pull away from Reese. And it looks like Reese's battle for P1 is going to come to an end, because Cypher's just going to want to secure that win. But a 1-2 for the Red Bull duo means a lot, especially around their home circuit.
Reese does have the fastest lap of the race, so that will be an extra point for him. And that will be nice in his points haul, as he's still in the DRS against Scyther. But Scyther has poured on the DRS to keep it back, as George has crashed in the old pit lane entrance. Now it is right at the end of the race anyway, so there will be no safety car enabled in this race. And Cryptic, by the way, Cryptic is going to be looking at a podium in his Ferrari run. So that would be good for him. Now Beatnik is 3 seconds behind. Is 3 seconds behind TB, so he will net P4. Ads is currently 3.6 seconds behind TB, so he's looking at P5 right now. But that could all go wrong if Ads or Beatnik nails a 3 second. But these two are still fighting.
Pick one up. Yeah, it's been a very, very close race for them. And Beatnik's tyres, he did pit a lot early compared to the rest of the field for them mediums. So depending on what happens, we could potentially see Ads' tyres bring back up as there we go, Cypher. He knows he wants that fastest lap. He wants to secure the whole lot. He goes for it, and there we go, onto the final lap. Ads will maybe try and get up to P4. He'll want it, but the question is, can he get it? The two are on similar ERS, but definitely one thing we've seen is that the slipstream is OP. And it looks like the Red Bull will round out a 1-2, their first 1-2 since last weekend. Obviously, technically, it wasn't a 1-2 due to a race penalty, but still a 1-2 on track. And it looks like we're going to get another 1-2. So maybe the Red Bulls have decided to finally show up here. The Ferraris are starting their downfall. But Ads, he's got 2 more chances to get ahead, but technically, realistically, only one. Um, I think
Yep.
driver of the day has to go to, in my opinion, it's between TB and Ads. Ads going from 9th to 5th,
That's
maybe
what I'm thinking
4th.
as well. But as he comes out of the final
TB going
corner,
from last
he will
there.
score another win, the third of the season. Scyther wins in Silverstone. Reese will take P2. It is the first Red Bull 1-2 of the season. And I'll probably say that way with the reports there. But anyways, Cryptic crosses the line in third. Now TB will cross the line in fourth, but he will fall to 6th place because here comes Beatnik to take P4 and Ads to take P5. That 6 seconds of penalties had really screwed TB over. Bourbon will cross to take P7. The Chiller in 8th, but will lose it to Tadpole. And Stenner, a long ways away, is looking at P10 for right now. It looks like he does have enough of a gap to keep that P10 ahead of Kiernan. As my partner has just left, but Stenner is in 10th place. Kiernan will take 11th. And Luke, unfortunately, started last. He'll probably want a race that he'd like to forget. But, you know, I'm going to have to agree with Layton on this, but I think in hindsight, for driver of the day, TB put on a good fight. He was at the back of the field in the start, but then recovered to get P6. But I think if I really had to do it, put my guess. The game gave TB driver of the day. So I think I'm gonna go with that, and I'm probably also gonna say Beatnik as a contender, because I mean, literally 4th place for that guy. What a monumental run there, and that's another 12 points, because that's actually his second 4th place in 3 races. But there you go. Well, once it loads up, hopefully. There we go. So there it is. So Scyther is the winner. His 3rd win of the season. And he will gain. Let's see. So he'll gain 18 points. He'll gain 18 points on TB in the championship. Let's take a look. So yeah, 96. Yeah, so unofficially it'll be TB 156, and Scyther will go to 122, overtaking Jacob for 2nd in the drivers' championship. But there it is. So Scyther is gonna be the winner. So good job by him in that sense. But yeah, so that is going to conclude the stream for today. So, next week, let's just put it simply. Next week, for Tier 2 and F2, it is the finale of their respective seasons. F1 Tier 2 will have its finale for Season 7. They will be in Yas Marina. Same applies with F2 to complete... Oh, nope, I'm sorry. F2 Season 15, their finale is going to be at Interlagos in Brazil. And RPL F1 will complete the first half of the season racing around Austria. So, from RPL Streams, this is Ty and I will say good night and have a good one.